So when it goes live, I'm gonna tell you, but it's just turning right now, okay? And I set it to record.
Okay.
Recording in progress.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna tell you when we live.
Nason, we always record it just in case something happens so that we won't lose the interview. So,
Of course, that's fine.
All right, here we go. We are live. We are live. Okay? Well, I want to first of all thank you for coming on to the podcast to share your views on higher education and why it is so important after graduating high school. And I know that you're going to tell your story in your own way. And so, going to let you move forward from here in sharing your story with the rest of the world. Again, thank you for
Yes, ma'am.
joining myself and Jackie on this podcast.
Hmm.
Okay, there you go. Your turn.
Alrighty. Well, graduated from high school. That first year of college, I went straight to
Nason,
college.
could you
Actually,
introduce yourself?
I'm sorry. My name is Nason Boson. Um, I'm from Mark, Texas, and talking about going straight to college after high school.
Mm-hmm.
My f- my first year of college was right after high school,
Mm-hmm.
and that first year, I'm really thankful for that first year because that's the one that really taught me to use my resources. I would say
Uh-huh.
because so many people think when you get out of high school and you go to college that it's going to be easy or you're free when they don't know that's the moment where it makes a major impact on your life.
Mm-hmm.
That's the moment where you really have to buckle down and be like, okay, this is what I want to do. How am I going to go about this, or what do I actually want to do with myself?
Uh-huh.
If that makes sense. So
It makes a lot of
coming out that
sense.
first year, yes, ma'am. Coming out that first year, I had my aunties, I had my mom, I had my sisters and my cousins, and at that time, I just thought, oh, well, it's just college, like I'll be all right. Not
Mm-hmm.
knowing that I honestly needed to lean on them to to give me advice, to help me, or to look out for me because it gets rough.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, like going to school, trying to go to school, or wanting to work and go to school at the same time, or not being able to work, or whatever the case may be. But me at my time,
Mm-hmm.
I was going through a thing of my own where I was going to college, but I was sick. I didn't know how sick I was. I just knew
Mm-hmm.
that I wasn't okay,
Okay.
And when I say that, I mean they were like, "It's just your asthma," and at that time I was okay, whatever. It's my asthma, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like I went through that first semester. I made it through the first semester,
Mm-hmm.
and I got really sick, and I
Mm-hmm.
went into ICU.
Mm-hmm.
Once I went into ICU, that was my first time going into ICU,
Mm-hmm.
and they still didn't know what was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So at that moment, I was like, well, what am I going to do about school? Or, just where do I go from here at that time?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're still saying it's your asthma.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, so am I just going to always be like this? Or
Mm-hmm.
what can I do?
Right.
And Nason,
And
don't you
long
think
story short,
that a lot of
hmm
people think asthma is just no big deal, no matter what? Asthma's no big deal. What are you being so
yeah, they're
fussy
like,
about?
oh, it's just asthma. They don't know there's different forms of asthma, actually.
Mm.
There's mild, there's severe, there's all kinds of asthma. There's environmental asthma
Mm-hmm. Mm.
where when the weather changes it affects your allergies and your breathing and your eyes.
Take your time. Just take your time. We good.
So at that time and that moment at ICU was oh, it's just your asthma. So, got I see you. I tried going back to school, but
Mhm.
this time it was like I was there,
Mhm.
but I wasn't there
Okay.
because, and, and now that I think about it, at that time, I feel like that was a moment where my extended brothers had taken over.
Oh, okay.
I was I was lazy, sleeping all the time, weak,
Mhm.
couldn't had trouble swallowing,
You
all
thought
of
you
that
were
nature.
lazy. You
Mm.
thought you were lazy and all that
Yeah,
because how could I be anything else? You know,
Mhm.
yes, ma'am.
you had to fight
And
that.
it was just, and I was like that for a while, and then I didn't go back to school till I was 20, 20, around 25,
Okay.
and that's when I went for dental assistant.
Mhm.
And I did dental assisting for a while, but I've always felt like the medical field was where I wanted to be.
Okay.
And I was like, well, I want to be a nurse. And then I was like, I can't be a nurse because I have myasthenia gravis. I kept blaming it on the condition.
Mhm.
And then until about 2 years ago is when I went back to school for a medical assistant.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
at that time, I felt like, okay, well, I have a condition. I can't let it control me.
Mhm. Mhm.
I can I can live with it
Mhm.
and not cripple myself,
Okay.
or let it take me, which that wasn't an option.
Okay.
I
Okay.
was determined to get my associate's degree,
Mhm.
my medical assistant certificate. I was determined no matter what, no matter if how I was feeling or anything, honestly.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's when I used my resources. That's when I used my aunt. That's when I used my mom. That's when I used my cousins. That's when I start making sure I went to my doctor's appointments.
Mhm.
That's when I start making sure I took my medicine on time. That's when I just made sure that I could function to
Mhm.
get where I wanted to be.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it wasn't easy. I had my days where I didn't feel like moving or didn't want to get up or
Mhm.
but it was like I couldn't just lay there,
Yeah.
honestly. And that's why yeah.
So
And then some
when I heard you starting out and saying you were talking about when you first came in to college, you felt like that was the best time because it helped you to identify some things.
yes, ma'am. And I feel like honestly every 18-year-old, 19-year-old coming out of high school, I feel like they should go right to college.
Okay.
Because, in my opinion, that on top of that, that first year at college,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you really decide, like, okay, what am I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to do?
Uh-huh.
And like at that time too, that's the best time to go. Because at 18, 19, 20 years old, think about it. You still live with your parents.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
have no bills,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
no worries. You can just focus on school.
Mm-hmm.
That's the major thing. Just you can focus on school. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have any obstacles at that age
Mm-hmm.
unless you make them yourself.
Yeah.
And do you find, Nason, that a lot of kids, they come out of, of high school and they start college and they have no understanding of how important it is. They don't, they just like, oh, well, my parents said that I could only live at home if I went to college.
Yeah, that
And
or it's
then,
like, oh well, my parents said I have to go to college
yeah,
Mhm.
and they don't understand that you have to that this is the time to make decisions about your life.
to make it count.
You have to make it count. Yeah.
Make
And
it count because once you get older, and this is from my experience also, like, yes, I had the condition and I ended up not going back to college till I was about, 27, 26. And at that age that I was like, well, I should have kept going. I could have kept going,
Mhm.
and I wouldn't be trying to play catch up,
Uh-huh.
if I'm making sense.
You
but
making
you
a
know
lot of
what, Nason?
sense.
I'm going to
You
tell
know,
you, there's
like,
a lot of people out there who convince themselves, oh, I dropped out, I can't go back. They convince
mm,
themselves.
Mhm. But
And I
that's not
convinced
true.
myself that for a long time. I had to
Mhm.
pay the bill for a
Mhm.
long time. But it's important to speak up and speak out and say, yeah, it was hard to go back, because I know it was
exactly.
hard to go back.
Mhm.
I went back, like I
Hmm.
said, when I was 39 years old. I dropped out when I was 23, and I went back when I was 39. And I worked all my life in between that time,
Mhm.
but it wasn't
Yeah.
what I wanted to do. And if
Hmm.
you want to do what you want to do, you got to, as Whoopi Goldberg has said in Sister Act, stand up and pay attention, you know?
Yes, ma'am.
And that is the time to start researching and looking at yourself and thinking about your future, is that first year out of high school.
Yes, that really is, and it's so much. And I think what it is too also is a lot of kids they think that they have to go off to a
Mm-hmm.
university,
Mm-hmm.
and this is where I say use your resources because you have the community colleges, you have the community colleges. They offer degrees, they offer certificates, they offer financial aid, just like the
Mm-hmm.
university.
Mhm.
They offer many resources.
Mhm.
And
You just have
now,
to you just have to look into them and utilize them.
Mhm.
I'm
Allegra,
not saying
now,
that college. Oh,
oh, I was just going to say, isn't it now that if you live in the school district of College of the Mainland and other small colleges, you actually can attend a certain amount of time for free.
exactly. Yes, ma'am. And
Yeah.
also too, College of the Mainland has a thing going on right now where, if I'm not mistaken, if you go to school for EMT or
Mhm.
CNA, it's something going on with a tuition. They help you with the tuition or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yes, and you have to
Mm-hmm.
check with continuing education department
Mm-hmm.
for that. They'll
Mm-hmm.
they'll kind of guide you in that. So it's like, um, you know, I'm just gonna stop for a minute and say I'm very proud of what you have said thus far,
Me
because
too.
one of the most powerful things that you said, Nason, is out of everything that you have been going through, that you didn't let it stop you. You didn't let it define who you were. And I
Hmm.
can honestly say this, and me and Jackie have also discussed this. And I'm saying this because I want you to go more into detail, because I've invited a lot of young people to view this on tonight. I had, uh, well, my nephew who I went and was helping out was saying to me that they don't really prepare y'all anymore for college. Do you feel like in high school somebody is dropping the ball, and why? Because parents don't know that many, this is, that many young people going to school today don't really feel like they care. What are your views on
Mm-hmm.
that?
My views on that, honestly, I'm gonna say coming out of my class through the years of my years of high school, I had teachers that cared. I had teachers that applied themselves, that tried to make sure we didn't slip through the cracks, and I had teachers that was like, "Oh well, you either get it or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Okay.
either
And
going to soak up the information or you're not. And is it does it suck that it's teachers like that? Yes.
Uh-huh.
But in a way, honestly, it prepares you for college also because you're going to have a teacher that just you either got it
Mm-hmm.
or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because you have a teacher that he's going to teach that lesson,
Mm-hmm.
and it's either you pay attention to that lesson
Mm-hmm.
or you're not going to get it, or whether you're paying attention to it or not, use resources.
Mm-hmm.
There's tutorials, there's math classes, there's reading tutorials, there's any kind of tutorial you can think of.
Uh-huh.
You just have to apply yourself.
Uh-huh.
And there are some
It's,
people
it's what you make of it,
who are very self-motivated.
honestly.
Some people are. Some people aren't. So what would you recommend for people who are not self-motivated?
Mm-hmm.
How can we help them? How can we, as adults, as people who've been through the system, how can we help them? The ones who are not motivated, the ones who are
The
only
ones,
there because mommy and daddy said they had to be there.
I would say I'm gonna do it to say it this way. The ones that are not self motivated,
Mm-hmm.
it could be something going on at home.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a single parent home, or it can be both parents at home, but it could be something at home where it's like they force them, like, go, like you have to go.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't give them time to be like, okay, at least think about
What they
what
want to
they want
do.
to do. They
Mm-hmm.
just know I'm there because mom and dad want me here.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Not, oh, I'm here because I thought about going into mechanics or the medical field, or
Mm-hmm.
they're just there. So
Mm-hmm.
so to them it's just, oh well, I'm here.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to not know when you start what you want to do when you finish. I
Yes,
had
that's
no
true.
clue when I started college that I was going to end up being a counselor and an academic advisor.
True. And
But
see, when I first went, it was just for general studies,
mhm,
and then along the road, the medical field actually is something that I figured out, like, this is my calling. If I'm making
and,
sense,
and
You make a
that's
lot of
what life
this is
sense.
where
does. That's
this
what
is where
life
I
does.
make my difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I think a lot of kids just need to realize that, like, even at 18 and 19 and 20, that where do I want to make a difference?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Where do I feel I will benefit in some kind of way?
That's
Yeah, that's
good.
excellent. That's excellent.
Uh,
Yeah.
Mason, when you were talking about the types of asthma, how did that come
Hmm.
about again? Because I wasn't aware. Can
Like,
you
you have
share
severe
that a
cases
little
of
bit
asthma.
more? They diagnosed you with asthma, you're saying, when you first got in high
Yes.
school or college?
No, when I was a kid, I was diagnosed with asthma. As I went through my years of, elementary, middle school, and high school, I kept being told it was asthma. And thank God for good friends, because my I'm gonna say the middle of my 10th grade year
Mm-hmm.
is when the myasthenia gravis really started affecting me.
Oh, okay.
And seeing I would have moments where me and my friends would be walking to the store,
Uh huh.
and I'd fall. I'll just fall.
Uh huh.
Hmm.
Like my legs would just give out.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay.
And my friends knowing that I had asthma, they just thought, you know, this is asthma, and they would help me up, or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my walking was horrible. My balance was horrible.
And I bet you couldn't do any athletics or anything like that, could you? No.
Nothing. And at that time, I was actually in band. my 11th grade year, I got out of band
Oh, okay.
because you
just because
couldn't keep it
just
up.
because it was like I couldn't do it. I couldn't do anything like at all. Like something that I love to do,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of people, that would make them give up, but you didn't. You didn't. You
Yes,
didn't
ma'am.
give up. Good job.
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive. Very impressive.
But yeah, I went through the rest of my high school year dealing with the myasthenia gravis and not even knowing it,
Hmm.
not knowing
Like
what
you were
was going
telling
on.
me earlier, before we came on live, you were telling me earlier that you just felt lazy. You thought, "Ah, I'm just like being so lazy," and you were
Yeah, and that's the thing. I was
self
always
degrading.
tired. I was always tired,
Yeah,
Mm.
self degrading
and I'm like,
yourself.
why am I so tired?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah. Do
What a
sometimes,
wonderful thing it is to get diagnosed with the right thing. Yeah.
Nason, would you say if you had to talk to or give a valuable piece of information to those who graduated from high school and maybe been out a year or two and they haven't returned to college, as well as those who are getting ready to graduate now, what would be the most powerful message that you feel that you could give them if you were able to just sit down with a circle of those younger than you? What would you want to say to them?
my main thing to say to them would be, don't get distracted.
Mm-hmm.
Do not get distracted because
Mm-hmm.
anything, it might seem like something small, but when you're in college, that's big. You can get distracted easily.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much that can distract you from doing what you're trying to do.
What are some of those
And when I say
things?
that,
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
it's fine. It can honestly be friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're not gonna have just all your friends are not gonna go to college, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna have friends like, hey, let's go such and such, or hey, can you come to this tonight? Can you go to the party? Or hey, you can't get distracted.
Mm-hmm.
The main focus is finishing college.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And when
Yeah.
I say that, it can even honestly, it can even be a relationship,
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
boyfriend girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
It can be that.
Uh-huh.
Just all want to be with them all the time. It doesn't work like that.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
It does
Yeah.
not work like
Mm-hmm.
that at all.
Yeah.
You like boyfriend girlfriend, that doesn't at that time. Your first year of college, and if you decide to go on and get with someone else and get with someone and further in college, okay. But that first year of college is all about you.
You.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's all you. Because that first year of college is what's going to make you or break you.
Okay. Okay.
I want to show you a diagram I just drew.
Okay.
If you can see it. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yes.
All of
Yes.
these little circles. This is your
Hmm.
life. And sometimes we think, oh, if I failed on this one, I failed right here, in this,
Hmm.
therefore I failed in everything.
That's not true.
You failed in that
Hmm.
relationship. So you think you failed in everything. That's not true.
Mm-mm.
Hmm.
This is just one little bubble of your life. And you have to decide what the important bubbles are. And yes, relationships are important, but they are not the be all and end all. The be all and end all is
Yep.
the core of who you are. And all these things on the periphery, you figured that out. I'm so proud of you. And I want all of these young people who are watching to understand that it's okay if something doesn't go right.
Yep. And also that too, you're not going to have the perfect semester. No one's gonna have a perfect semester. There's gonna be something that a curveball is going to get thrown in that semester somewhere. It
Mm-hmm.
might be it could be anything. It could be, oh well, it could be you need a class, but that class is not till it's a morning class, and you work in the mornings, or anything of that sort. There's it's always going to be a curveball in that semester somewhere, but you have to overcome it.
You
And
have
when you
to.
overcome it, it's such a relief. It's a relief.
Yeah.
And you don't let one little bubble blow
You
you up.
can't.
You can't. You just keep
Hmm.
going. And that's, myasthenia gravis is a pretty big bubble. You didn't you
Hmm.
didn't let
Yes.
it stop all the bubbles. You didn't let it stop you. And that's
You
very,
can't.
I mean,
And one thing I always talk about, I didn't mean to cut you off,
no,
but
that's
one thing
okay.
I always talk about with my cousin is because my cousin has it too. So
Uh-huh.
when me and her talk, I always tell her, you have to beat the disease. You can't let the disease beat you. You can't let it. You can't let it beat you. You have to beat it. It. It doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't.
Didn't
Control
define you.
or
Yes.
define.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a powerful
Like.
statement.
I
And I
Yes,
just want you
ma'am.
to
You have
elaborate
to.
on it some more. Elaborate on that some more. That conversation you're saying,
When I
like,
say
I
like,
like,
don't let it beat you. You can't.
yeah.
You can't let it affect your daily way of living. Like me, yes, I have my son drivers, but I still go to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
I still take care of myself. Um I still talk to y'all right now. I'm
Yeah.
talking normal. I function.
Yeah.
I don't let it overpower me. And let's say right now, if I was to have a flare up, or if it starts acting up, I'm going to keep talking because I can't let it define me.
Yeah. Let it
At
beat
the
you.
end of the day, exactly. So I still live a normal day to day life. Nothing, nothing out of the usual.
Yeah.
And
Just work
when
out, work, play
that's
around,
you just get
jump
up and you do.
around. Hmm.
You've got an agenda and you just get up and you do it.
And that's
And
all you can do. You're gonna
that's
have
all
good days. You're gonna have bad days.
that
That's
is
life.
so so wonderful. I mean,
That's
so
life.
many young people give up and they need to
Hmm.
hear you talking and
Yeah.
say, hear you talking and hear you saying, don't give up on yourself.
See,
Don't.
that's the thing. Like right now, because currently, I work around a couple people around 21, 20 years old, or 19, and they're a CNA or a PCT, and they're like, oh, I want to go for this, but that, but this, but that. It's like you can't always say it's not the right time, because honestly, there's never going to be a right time.
Mm-hmm.
There's never going to be a right time. You have to just do it. And I tell them that all the time. I'm like, just do it.
If you're looking
You
for all of
can't
the pieces to fall into
just do
place
it.
by some miracle, no, doesn't happen
And I
that way.
have some of my coworkers starting this semester, actually. When I started back school, they were like, "Yeah, I'm going to do it." And so I have my days where I'll be like, "Hey, you talk to the advisor. Like, hey, you tell me your aid. Like, you talk to the advisor, or what's going on? Like,
Yeah.
like." And they'll
Mm-hmm.
be like, "Oh, I'm gonna do it." I'm like, "Yeah," and I'm gonna check on you every day until you finally tell me I done it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it's not this semester, I'm gonna still next semester ask you, have you done it? Like, what's going on? Like,
You're the kind of friend that these people need to have. You really are, because
yes, ma'am.
you are not going to give them an excuse not to be accountable, and that's
Hmm.
and you have personal experience that you can pull on and say you can be accountable, and you are
Yep.
accountable, no matter what your condition is, no matter if you had a baby when you were 15, no matter
Hmm.
if you know. Uh, you grew up in foster care. No matter
Yeah.
what, you are accountable to yourself, and that's what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
You as a
Yep.
friend are making them understand they are accountable to themselves. Good job.
Hmm.
Good job.
Yeah. And especially at 18, I think too, kids at 18, 19, and 20, they just sometimes they think they give up so easily
Mm-hmm.
when
Yeah.
it's like they don't think like I was just saying when I was like I stay at home or like I'm at home, I have no bills, like I don't have anything
Hold me back.
to like exactly. So it's like that's it's like you just have to focus on school at that time. So it's like that's the time where it's like
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
that's like your prime.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I,
And
there,
I wish so many younger kids would really get that through their heads. Like this is my time. I can knock this out right now,
mm-hmm.
and whatever I want to focus on, when I get where I'm going,
Mm-hmm.
I can actually focus on it
hmm
and not jump back. Like I
Mm-hmm.
can whatever else I want to do, I can do it
Yeah.
yes,
because
that is.
I've already passed that chapter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Don't need to go back. That's
Don't need
true.
to go back.
Hmm.
And if you have if they are young and they have a kid, a baby, that's motivation too. Because it's like, okay, well, I got to get this before this child gets,
That's
13 or whatever
mm-hmm.
age you feel like
Mm-hmm.
I got to get this before they get there,
Yeah.
Hmm.
so we can live like this.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. That was my
And Electra,
driving
speak.
motivation. Was every time that I
Hmm.
looked at my daughter, I got to do better. I got to do more because I got to give her the things that I didn't have. You know, um, and she went
Hmm.
on to do well. I mean, just
Did
as
very well.
your sister, with two, she had twins, but she was a fighter, and
Hmm.
she did it, and highly educated as well, but
Hmm.
they didn't.
And that's what I looked up to. I mainly looked up to my big sister,
Mhm.
and I
Mhm.
say that because a lot of people be like, "Oh, I didn't want to let my mom down." That, yeah, but my big
You didn't want
sister,
to
it
let
was
your
like,
sister down.
I didn't want to let my sister down.
When you say
On your
that,
niece.
kind of elaborate on that a little.
I'm gonna say, seeing my sister go through college, and how can I word it? Because I'm gonna say, just seeing her go through college, and I feel like if I didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve, that she would be disappointed in me because
Mhm.
she knows my potential more than I know my potential,
Good. Yeah. Yeah.
That's great.
and
Yeah.
she knows my potential more than me. So you know, even now at the age I am now, or the age when I first went back to school, you
Mhm.
know, she was like, "Well, make sure you use it," and that was my main thing going through school. Like, I'm gonna finish this and I'm gonna use it. I don't know who hospital or who clinic I'm be at, but
Mhm.
Hmm.
I'm at somebody hospital or clinic, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna use it. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
And
yeah, I always, yeah,
everybody has different circumstances,
Mhm.
and you cannot let Electra had a child very young, a single mother by herself. You have this terrible disease, myasthenia gravis. I came out of foster care, but we are fighters, and
Mhm.
it's important for us as fighters to share that fighting spirit
Mhm.
with these kids coming out of high school.
Mhm.
You know,
yes, man,
you have a great fighting spirit, and I hope that you continue to encourage young people to say, don't let your circumstances define your life.
Yeah.
Keep going.
yep. Because you can easily turn it over. You can turn that
Hmm.
situation over
Mhm.
Hmm.
When you
Hmm.
say
as
that,
long as you just
elaborate. Good.
like my situation with the Nasen grabbers, I was like, I honestly was thought that I was done with college after it affected me. That when they finally found out I had Nasen grabbers, and I think like it was the third time in ICU,
Uh-huh.
I honestly was like, well, that's done for college. Like college is done. That was really how I was thinking at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Where not in the moment when I went back to college was like I can't let it define me, and I have to make something.
Mm-hmm.
I have to make a positive out of the negative.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I have to make a positive out of this negative. Like this can't be the end for my situation.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's excellent.
That's
That
all
is
right.
so excellent.
You know,
It
Nason,
really is.
I'm gonna touch on this while I have you on here because you still young, and one of my great concerns is I'm seeing a lot of young men turn to gun violence, and I'm gonna put this still in the perspective of higher education because I see a lot of kids who want to do something, but I'm afraid that they will care so much about those friendships that they
Mhm.
will end up following and chasing things that are not right. And gun violence among teenagers, because they want their friends to like them, they don't want to let go of people they grew up with. Please elaborate on that because I'm just not understanding it because my philosophy is best, you know, the best person for me is me. But I feel like a lot of them
Hmm.
are losing that and that's why they're getting into this gang stuff, they're getting into this shooting up each other and once
Mhm.
that bullet come out that chamber, you can't take that back. They got life
Mhm.
sentences at the age of 16 and 17 and 18 years of age. Where is that breakdown of I can be myself? I don't yeah, I knew you in elementary and junior high and even high school. But sometimes it's time to break those relationships. Please give
Mhm.
us some insight because we got parents and grandparents on here and like I said there's some young people that I invited to come on and listen and I really I'm grappling with that to be honest.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
grappling with why they just gotta keep hanging on. They don't want to switch lanes for the better.
Hmm. But that situation with the gun violence going on, I'm gonna say like in it basically pretty much in the mark right now with the gun violence is just I wouldn't say it's not even the fact that they need to separate themselves from them type of friends. Yes, they need to separate from those type of friends, but it's also right now they're not thinking for themselves. They're not using their own mind.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mhm.
when I say not using their own mind, I mean like situations like like the friend might want you to go with them, and the other friend, you might tell them no, and the other friend might be like, "Oh man, you such and such,"
Mm-hmm.
and so
Mhm.
it's just peer pressure.
Depression.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad to say, but I mean, it's peer pressure.
Okay.
We we've all went through peer pressure before, but it's just the peer pressure is so bad. But what's going on right now is that it can stop your life before you actually begin to live life.
And these
Yes.
kids
Before you
don't know that they can't.
before they actually get to live life, they're stopping their life just because of the fact that they didn't think like use their mind. They let somebody else
Mhm.
use their mind,
Mm-hmm.
and that can be manipulation, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's really what it's boiling down to. There's peer
Can,
pressure and manipulation.
can you think of anything that we, as people who are grown, can say that might make them wake up and and
See, different.
stop being sheep that follow, you know, a fox in sheep's clothing or whatever. What can we say? What can we do? Please, what would make a difference besides prayer? We pray all the time.
You can honestly you can say whatever you need to say that's on your heart, but if it's not being heard,
Hmm.
then that's like going in one ear and out the other.
Yeah,
It's
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
gonna be it's gonna have to be something to it's gonna have to be something that
They're
how
going to
would I
have to
say?
have a, as I would call it, a come to Jesus moment for
Yes,
themselves
yes.
and say,
That.
"Oh my gosh, is this really the life I want?" But only
Hmm.
they only
So
are
you,
going to
you
be
can
able.
speak all day about it, but also too, one thing I noticed at the moment is I spoke about this too before, how the College of the Mainland, the remodeling and the what
Mm-hmm.
they're doing right now,
Mm-hmm.
that gives more of a college feel,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm,
and I think that also will attract them to want to do more. Because Lamarck is small,
Mm-hmm.
mhm,
and me growing up in Lamarck, honestly, it was like ain't nothing here.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
what's here?
Yeah.
What's really here? But trouble.
Yeah.
Like nothing but trouble.
Yeah. I mean, like it's
mhm,
real.
So like,
mhm,
mm-hmm.
It's real.
And it's like
mhm,
nothing but trouble.
mhm.
So it's like they're my thing is they're probably thinking like, oh, that's all I got to get into anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm, mhm.
You know?
That they don't have any options
Yeah.
because they don't.
Yeah.
They have blinders on and they can't see that there are other
hmm
options.
Mm-hmm.
And with the college the way it is now, the way it's set up now, I think it will draw more of them in.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, good. That's
Mm-hmm.
good. That's
Cause
excellent.
That and the fact that I think a lot of them too, like I was just saying, they think, oh, I have to get a degree. No, you don't have to get a degree. That's your choice.
mm-hmm.
But
Mhm,
there's other options. They have certificates.
mhm,
Mm-hmm.
There's something you can use there. You
mhm,
just have to use your resources.
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you know,
You
and
know?
I know some kids, their choice will be to go off to college, and that's life.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
sometimes it's
Mm-hmm.
good. Sometimes it's good. A lot of my classmates, they went off to college, and then after they graduated, they come back to visit. You know, they come to the class
Mm-hmm.
reunions. They do all of that. But I can tell you what they said, just the same thing you said. It's small. It's nothing here. So they go off to
mhm,
Mm-hmm.
college because they know that being here is going to cause some stumbling blocks. People know what's better. They know
Yes,
that
totally.
if I don't get away from here, I'm going to mess up. Even my
Mm-hmm.
late husband, he said that's why he went to the military because if I would have stayed in Texas City, I wasn't going to make it. I was going to either be dead or in jail.
mhm,
Mm-hmm.
And
mhm,
so sometimes that option is the better option. But what I hear you saying,
mhm,
it's not the only option, but it is an option.
Yeah, it's not
Also
all.
hear you saying like use your resources. Don't just get stuck
Mm-hmm.
on one thing.
It's more. It's more one. It's more than one way to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It is more than one way to get it done.
So at this time, Nason, we are, and you have so much information, so you're gonna have to come back home again. But the way that it works, we have 15 minutes left. So this is the way that we do it. So in order for our viewers to be able to be a part of this interview, and because we don't have phones for them to phone in, so I read off the what they're saying in the chat section, and then you can respond. And some people are just letting you know that they're on. We don't mention names, we just say viewers because that's just the professional way to do it. And so I'm going to read those off, and then when I'm done reading those off, you can give any kind of feedback that you want too from what I'm saying, and I may stop as I'm going through, but then Jackie, after you're done, Jackie will come on and she'll give some comments, but you're going to have the closing remarks, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So let
Yes,
me
ma'am.
go to our viewers, and one of the viewers said just let us know that she's there, and then another viewer comes on and she's letting us know that she's there, and then we have another viewer who you were when you were talking about the asthma, the impacts and the different types. She's just saying that she didn't know that. We have another viewer who is saying, just speaking to you. Have another viewer saying, once at choir rehearsal, I was late. The director was fussing at me for being lazy and acting like I didn't care. All I could respond was, I don't know what's wrong with me because I didn't. Okay? So that's kind of like you were saying about you were feeling lazy. You want to elaborate on that a little bit? Or you want me to reread it?
No, that's fine. I totally understand that. That makes a lot of sense, honestly. Because um, with the being lazy part, that's exactly how I felt. Just not having the energy to do anything, and that
Mm-hmm.
could be. I think I had a moment where one of my main moments was I think I had to I had to go to clinicals at that moment, and I think I was late for like that whole week, and it was just like just didn't know what was wrong with me at that time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But you can overcome it.
Okay.
Overcome it.
You can overcome it. It's just a something you just got to push through.
Okay. So another viewer, the viewer says, same viewer says, when we found out what was wrong, she apologized. She said, maybe you're not lazy after a little bit. So the person did go back and come back and apologize to
Yeah,
her for
Good, but
saying it.
it took them diagnosing her with something for her to apologize. That shouldn't have taken that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
yeah,
No,
I'm
no, you
sorry.
telling the truth. You telling
It
the
shouldn't have
truth.
taken that.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah.
if a kid is coming to you and they're saying, I'm exhausted all the time. I sleep all the time. If all you can do is criticize them and ridicule
Yeah, then they're
them,
never gonna
yeah,
wanna find out or
it
be comfortable with talking to you.
it shouldn't take them going to the ICU for
Mm-hmm.
you to say you're
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah.
that's
So,
true.
That's
That's very
true.
true.
That's true.
mhm.
Yes.
So then another viewer, the same viewer says, you are strong mentally. It's definitely not easy, so you should be proud of yourself. You actually are an inspiration to many you may never know. You're an inspiration to many that you may never know. And that's true. And I say that all the time, and Jackie as well. We talk about that. When you guys come on for the live interviews, you are touching so many people.
So many,
And
so many
Jackie is
people.
the technical director. So, I'm going to ask Jackie at this point to just kind of mention some of the places where viewers are.
Well, we have viewers, confirmed viewers in Mexico City, um, France, London, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. We had a viewer in Moscow. I don't know what's going on with that. Oh, what was that recent one that we got?
Russia, but they
No, there
can't
was
get no
another one.
social media. But you got one
Ireland,
in
Ireland.
Georgia, in Ireland.
Yeah, Georgia, and then all over the United States. We have California, Florida, Oklahoma, uh, Georgia, uh, just tons of
Arizona.
people everywhere.
Hmm.
Arizona, Washington State, Washington D.C., all over. These people are listening to you, Nason. They're listening to you and hearing your story, and that is impressive.
Yes, it is.
Thank
Yes,
you.
it is. Okay, so then we have another viewer said when we was talking about the instructors in the schoolhouses and how the young man was saying like he felt like they weren't being cared for and taught right, and you were saying there actually are some teachers who don't care, and so the viewer is saying that's not new. I feel like when we graduated, we wasn't prepared for college. So see, this isn't. It's not new that there are times when people just feeling like they're not prepared for
Abandoned.
college.
Like they were
Hmm.
abandoned in the search. They were just
Slip through the cracks.
slipped through the cracks, but not even slipped through the cracks. Slipped through the open trap door because nobody
Hmm.
cared.
Nobody
You know?
That's
cared.
true.
Yeah. So I have
That's
another
true.
viewer says, good question. How can we help them? And why, if they're just being lazy and don't want to apply themselves? So, Nason, you want to address that? What can we do to help them? Or are they just being lazy and don't want to apply themselves? What's your view on that question?
My view on that is just reach out to them. Reach out to them as best as you can. I mean, if they attach to you, they attach to you. If they don't, they don't. You might just not be the person that they you know
Mm-hmm.
can help them.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say that they're lazy though. They're not lazy at all. They're just you don't know. You never know what's going on at home.
Don't know.
Yeah.
You
You know
never
what
know.
I?
And honestly, you never know what that child might be going through in
Mhm,
the four walls that they sit in their room either. You don't know what they might be thinking in their head. You don't know what
mhm,
kind of doubts they placed upon themselves, what kind
mhm,
of situations they might have sat there and
mhm.
counted themselves out of. You
Mm-hmm.
just don't know. You can't just say that. My opinion, you can't just say that a child is lazy.
Mm-hmm.
They
You
might be.
can't
They might be
because they're not
depressed.
even they're not even they're not even at the age of adulthood yet to even be considered as lazy. A child is not lazy. It's just a moment where they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It could be anything going on with that child.
Mm-hmm.
And if you got a child that's sleeping all the
Anything.
time and never waking up, you need to pay attention because there's
It could
something
be
wrong.
anything. Yeah, it could be anything.
Mm-hmm.
When it
Mhm,
comes to a kid, it could be anything.
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
Okay. Thank you for
Like you
that.
just never know.
And how we help is just to do what as family.
Reach out. All I can say is reach out. I mean, and then when I say that too, I don't mean like oh just when I say reach out, yeah, you can reach out. But if you're not, when I say like you're not the person that might connect with them,
Mm-hmm.
it no, it could be anything. Like you could find someone to connect with them,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe you might have someone that can relate to their situation, or that can, you know, just communicate with them in a better or more efficient way that they understand or that
Mm-hmm.
they click with.
Okay. Okay. So we have another viewer that says, I don't see how to help anyone who just doesn't want to do it. But you answered that by saying it's not that they don't want to, it's just that they
It's
can
not that
have.
they don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
It could be anything. It can be what's going on at home, or it can, like I said, it could be whatever they're going through in that room by themselves.
Mhm.
Okay.
You
Mhm.
never know that child could feel alone
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
it happens. You know, that child could feel alone. That child could feel like all they have is themselves or himself or herself.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's just be honest, it happens. People think that kids don't or not are not supposed to feel that way, but
That's not true.
kids feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
kids feel that way. Like high school wise or middle school wise, they feel that way. It happens
Mm-hmm.
where
Okay.
they feel alone or they feel like oh well, this is it. This is all it's gonna ever be. Or
Mhm.
some of them might honestly, some of them might not even want to live.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
never know what that child's going through.
You
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
No child is lazy, in my opinion.
Okay.
There's
Thank you for
something that's
that.
behind it. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's something behind it.
Yeah. Then we have another viewer just said family and sent you a heart. Then we have another viewer who said it could be a medical condition that brings about the lack of. We have another viewer who said, I am so excited and proud of you. You have pushed through so many obstacles and staged your course. You are truly an awesome young man with great ambitions on your journey. Have another viewer that says, what you are saying is so true. The same viewer says, a lot of young kids need to listen to what you are saying because this is so true. We have another viewer that says, I quit in my mind on multiple occasions. It won't be perfect, but if the goal is to finish, you have to push past any hurdle. Another viewer says,
You have to finish the race.
huh?
You have to finish the race.
You have to
You
finish the
have to
race.
finish your race
Yeah, thank
because
you.
it's your race. Nobody determines.
Mhm.
Nobody determines. It's your race.
Mhm.
So no matter how slow you move or how fast you move, as long as you finish your race, that's all that matters.
Mhm.
Because a lot of people too think, oh well, such and such is doing that, so I gotta hurry up. Or
Mhm.
such and such just did this, so I need no, that's not how it works. You have to run your race at your pace,
Very
no
good.
matter how you want how slow, how fast you want to take it. That's your race.
Mhm.
Very
Okay.
good.
That's
As long as
good.
you finish it, that's you.
Yeah. All
It's all
right.
you.
That's powerful.
And so you have to bet on yourself. You
Mhm.
have to.
Mhm.
Hmm.
You
Because
have
at
keep
the end of the
talking.
day, that's on you.
Mm.
That's on you. At
Mhm.
the end of the day, there's nobody else's fault.
Mhm.
It's
What else?
you have to live with that.
All right.
It's whatever dream you're chasing that you know you want it, you have to get it. If you don't, that's on you because it's you can do it.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Honest. All right.
Yeah.
Have have another viewer saying, just want you to know that you are an amazing young man. And then we have your lovely sister. Regardless of your decisions, I will always be proud of you. The good thing about life is that the older you get, the smaller your friend group get. Before you know it, your group of 10 is now 2. So,
that's true.
your sister, she's telling the truth. You say that's true. Go
Yeah.
That's
ahead.
very true.
Hmm.
That's
You,
very true.
mhm.
Because I've always had a small friend group. I'm gonna say, but my main group is about 4 friends. Four
Mhm.
friends that we know we can always depend on each other.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
good.
We
That's
we we
excellent.
know, no matter how long we go without talking, we know
Yeah.
we can we can reach out to each other and talk to each other about whatever or whatever the case may be because we understand too that we're not kids no more.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
we're going to be busy. We're going to not have time to meet up how we used to or talk how we used to just because we're all trying to whatever it is we're trying to achieve, we're all trying to gain that out of life.
Everybody's
Yes.
trying to achieve that.
Yes. All
Yes.
right. Well,
Yes, ma'am.
that's what we had in the chat section. And again, your sister said, that regardless of your decision, that she always be proud of you. That's a good thing. So,
It's a good thing.
but so what we're gonna do now is Jackie will make her comments, And then Nason, you're gonna close us out, okay?
Well, I just
Okay.
want to say one thing. I want everyone to understand that life is about choices. Life is about choices. Everything you do because you decide to do it. Make a choice for yourself. And that's what Nason has done. He has made a choice for himself.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can't make a choice for ourselves, if we need somebody to buoy us up and lift us up and be our pillar, then we find a friend like Nason and we lean for a little while and let him encourage us to make our choices. Make your own choices and make your choices count. You are an excellent speaker, Nason. Thank you very much. I truly enjoyed this interview. Thank you.
No
Thank you.
problem. Thank y'all for having me.
Okay, you get to close us out, Mason. I want to say before you have the final words, thank you for agreeing to come on, and I would really love for you to come back on whenever you feel like you want to come on and talk about something, because this is the stuff that we need to be doing in speaking out into the world. You have to communicate. And what you communicated on
Mhm.
today, and both myself and Jackie can say, and these viewers here, we are all proud of you and we thank you for coming on from the bottom of our hearts. And the people around the world that are listening to you and who will see this interview way after you've done it, they will have a piece of valuable information that will last the rest of their lives. So thank you. You have the
Yes,
last
ma'am.
word, and then we're gonna end the interview.
Okay. Once again, my message would be towards the 18, the 19-year olds, the 20-year-olds, and the 21-year olds. Go to school, do what you got to do. Because trust me, once you get older, it's going to pay off so much. It's going to be the biggest reward of your life. And it's going to be something you go look back on. And you're going to be very grateful that you did it when you were young and you got it out the way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whatever you decide to venture off into, that's you.
Okay.
But that's it.
That's it.
Thank
Yes,
you,
ma'am. That's it.
Nathan.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank
All
you.
right. Bye
Thank you
bye.
very much. Bye.
Bye bye, y'all.